TD Jakes was hanging out at a rapper and f***ing party.
What?
That Puff Daddy helped. He's sitting right there. Old TD Snakes.
Amen.
They there f***ing and everything. TD Snakes right there.
Prepare yourselves because the Diddy scenario is about to become even more bizarre if you thought it couldn't get much crazier. It was recently revealed by Gene Deal that even TD Jakes went to events hosted by Diddy. Rumors are already circulating that the federal government may have also been engaged with him.
And anybody who has that kind of government on their shoulders don't have time to be playing with freaks.
Numerous A-list celebs have been rushing to disassociate themselves from Diddy after his arrest made headlines, saying they had never attended his events. The worst part is that they were unaware that Diddy had some very important tapes, which may reveal everything. According to the claimed videos, other celebrities participated actively in the parties and performed the same things Diddy did to his victims. And you know who has long been associated with Diddy? Jay-Z. Even more startling, perhaps, is TD. According to reports, Jakes, one of Diddy's closest pastor pals, is also involved in this problem. Everything that is happening between these three will soon be revealed to us. If you've never heard of TD as a well-known prosperity preacher, Jakes believes that God wants us to be wealthy because Jesus was affluent. Bishop Jakes, however, does not often associate with the underprivileged or impoverished, in contrast to Jesus. Rather, he is more likely to be seen mingling with millionaires, celebrities, and presidents. Additionally, Diddy is one of his closest celebrity buddies. For years, individuals have been discussing the possibility that their friendship is more complex than it first seems. Some others even question if anything is happening behind the scenes. The gossip around TD when his son, Jermaine Jakes, was imprisoned for indecent exposure in 2009, Jakes' involvement in covert relationships really took off. Undercover Dallas police officers apprehended 29-year-old Jermaine at Kiest Park. The arrest report states that Jermaine approached two undercover vice officers, unbuttoned his trousers, and made eye contact with one of them. He was immediately apprehended by the authorities for indecent exposure. Despite being arrested on the spot, he was eventually let go. However, the irony is that despite his father, TD Jakes' lectures about virtue and morality, while his kid was found doing the exact opposite. Doesn't it make you wonder about everything? Regarding TD and Diddy. They have a strong bond, Jakes. After Kim Porter died away, Diddy even requested Jakes to preside over her burial. In an Instagram tribute to Kim, Jakes spoke of Diddy's intense affection for her. Even in the midst of sorrow, he urged people to keep in mind the benefit of having had such love. This is where things get complex, however. The reports of Diddy's treatment of Kim depict a much harsher picture than Jake's optimistic portrayal of love. Diddy and Kim's relationship is clouded by accusations of abuse and control, leading one to question if the love Jakes extolled was as pure as he thought. Serious claims have been made that Diddy treated Kim with the same level of aggression, controlling her, hitting her, and even fracturing her nose. Additionally, according to Diddy's ex-bodyguard,
I didn't know Cassie, but I knew somebody who was going through the same thing she was going through, and that was Kim Porter.
Furthermore, it is quite disturbing to learn that Kim Porter was not mistreated, especially in light of the current reports of 120 other victims coming forward. In case you haven't been paying attention, lawyers said last week that they want to bring at least 120 cases on behalf of individuals who claim that Sean Diddy Combs and his colleagues essayed them. Many of these victims have already talked to law authorities, including the FBI, said to Houston lawyer Tony Busby, who was speaking at a news conference with essay victim advocates and co-counsel Andrew Van Arsdale from Ava Law Group. To support their claims, the lawyers are currently compiling police reports and hospital medical data. Busby said that after seeking medical care after the abuse, several of the victims had illicit drugs discovered in their systems. One drug that often appeared in the victims' testing was the non-opiate sedative xyzilline, sometimes referred to as Trang. According to reports, many of these victims were too scared to come forward until Diddy was arrested by federal officials in September and entered a not guilty plea. They fear reprisal from the offenders or their accomplices, as well as reaction in their families and communities, Busby noted. They really worry about their own safety. He said that many influential persons with secrets would probably be revealed throughout this court procedure. Sean Diddy Combs is facing fresh and unsettling charges.
New and disturbing accusations against Sean Diddy Combs. A Texas attorney tonight says he now represents 120 alleged victims, men and women, whose allegations span more than 30 years. The accounts of the alleged victims have not been fully vetted, but their accusations involve the kind of fueled alleged sexual assaults described in a dozen civil lawsuits and the criminal case against Combs.
The lawyers are presently representing 120 accusers from over 25 states, the bulk of whom reside in California, New York, Georgia, and Florida, despite the fact that over 3,000 individuals have contacted them about possible maltreatment. Many of the victims feel more at ease coming forward now that Diddy's arrest has reduced his power and influence over their life, according to Andrew Van Arsdale. According to Busby, there is about an equal number of males and women among the claimed victims, with 62% identifying as African American, 30% as white, and the other individuals as Asian or Hispanic. Although every instance is different, an unsettling trend has been seen. Numerous victims allege that Diddy or his colleagues essayed them as others looked on after luring them into circumstances where their drinks were tampered with at parties. At these gatherings, declining a drink often resulted in expulsion from the party, according to one victim, who was 22 years old. According to reports, these incidences happened at Diddy's notorious all-white parties at well-known locations in New York City, as well as during auditions and album release events. After being mistreated, several people who contacted Sean Diddy Combs or his accomplices were threatened with death or faced financial repercussions.
Any individual or entity who knew about the conduct and benefited from it, but did nothing to report it or stop it, and any individual or entity who covered it up or helped cover it up.
Some of the people who saw or assisted in the
These
crimes
people who know who they
well-known
are
individuals,
should just come
according to Attorney
forward
Tony
now.
Busby. Anybody or anything that knew about the behavior and profited from it, but did nothing to report it or stop it, as well as anybody or anything that covered it up or assisted in covering it up, should come forward right now. Even more alarming is the fact that at least 25 of the claimed victims were under the age of 9 at the time of the assaults. Combs and his allies essayed the youngster in the studio after Combs' record company, Bad Boy Records, brought him to New York for an audition, Busby said. According to Busby, the youngster and his parents were offered a record contract. Although Combs will be the target of individual lawsuits, Busby said that corporate institutions that benefited from the maltreatment, including as banks, pharmaceutical firms, and hotels, may also be implicated in these actions. It's important to realize that these stories were going around for a long time before Diddy's arrest and the lawsuits made news. Diddy has long been considered one of the most contentious personalities in the entertainment sector. However, TD is aware of the crazy rumors that circulate about Diddy's notorious parties. Jake has never declined an invitation to participate in the celebrations. Given the rumors about what really occurs after midnight, this raises some suspicions.
But for him to be at a Diddy party, I don't know. Like I feel the same way about that as I feel about when Tyler Perry came to his church and laid hands on him and he caught the Holy Spirit from Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry is the bishop of what?
Additionally, Jaguar Wright was questioned about her belief in TD Diddy, who often attends Jake's events, had a lot to say. When Jaguar brought up the Tyler Perry case in 2013, she wasn't entirely incorrect. In a ceremony that was uncannily similar to anything from Eyes Wide Shut, Tyler said a prayer to pdiddy, and Perry soon after presented him with a large check for $1 million. This raises questions about their connection and the kind of industry impact they have. Fast forward to July 2021 and Diddy and TD's collaboration. When they revealed intentions to air Jake's sermons on Diddy's cable TV network, Revolt, things took an intriguing turn. When they discussed this information over the phone, Diddy spoke candidly about how Jakes got him through a very trying time in his life. He thought about losing everything, including his closest buddy Andre, his fiancée, and the mother of his kids. Diddy said that he felt more hopeful after seeing and hearing Jakes. Nonetheless, there are severe concerns raised by the association between a person who professes to be a man of God and someone who is the subject of grave accusations. When someone who socializes with accused wrongdoers offers spiritual advice, it raises doubts about its veracity. As one admirer put it, TD, when it comes to that green, Jakes is devoted. For that foo, it's all about the money. Additionally, there are some rumors circulating that TD Jakes held events connected to what some are referring to as a secret society in addition to taking part in Diddy's notorious FOS. This concept isn't simply a passing fad among fans, it's becoming popular in a number of groups, particularly in light of the peculiar circumstances surrounding these get-togethers. This view is also held by Mace, the rapper turned pastor, who has been outspoken about his disagreements with Diddy about publication rights. Diddy has been at odds with him for a long time, rejecting his allegations and even attempting to damage Mace's reputation by calling him a phony preacher.
Every step on how to deal with Puff biblically. I dealt with him biblically. I reached out to his bishop. His bishop declined to mediate this situation. So why should we keep these same gatekeepers who have done nothing but exploited us?
Mace claims that the devil is controlling them, which calls into doubt the sincerity of their religious pursuits. I handled Puff according to the Bible at every stage of the process.
Floored, I was shocked, and it was apparent to me that some type of cover-up is going on. The Orinda police are in violation of federal law, and I will make sure if they want to be the next facing a lawsuit, they can be the next.
As this information circulated, a lot of speculation emerged about who this figure might be. Two names have consistently come up in conversations: TD Jakes and none other than Jay-Z. Even Jaguar Wright recently stepped into the spotlight with some shocking claims that have left many reeling. During her appearance on Piers Morgan's Uncensored, she suggested that Beyoncé and Jay-Z are hiding some dark secrets, alleging that they are keeping bodies in their home for creepy rituals. But that's just the beginning.
You've been called a whistleblower. You knew Sean Diddy Combs for a long time. You attended a number of his infamous parties. And in 2022, you made headlines after comments where you called him a and in response, you were called crazy and jealous. Do you feel vindicated by the events of the last few weeks?
No, not at all. Because he's just the beginning. Until him and his cohorts are all held to account publicly and legally.
This was Jaguar's first big moment on national TV, and she didn't hold back. According to her, Jay-Z has been funding investigations into high-profile figures like R. Kelly and now Diddy, likely to divert attention from his own questionable actions. She insists that she has 3 victims ready to testify in court about what Jay-Z and Beyoncé allegedly did to them, claiming that the couple would intoxicate people until they passed out and then transport them to their home to exploit them. Jaguar went even further, alleging that there are bodies hidden at Beyoncé and Jay-Z's residence, and that Jay-Z played a role in the tragic death of Aaliyah. She pointed out that Dream Hampton, who led the surviving R. Kelly campaign that fueled the #MeToo movement, was allegedly funded by Jay-Z to ensure that R. Kelly faced justice. According to Jaguar, this was all part of a larger scheme, as she emphasized that the couple is involved in disturbing activities, including holding people against their will and transporting them on planes while unconscious, much like Aaliyah when she boarded that fateful flight. Jaguar firmly believes that Diddy will reveal shocking truths in court during his trial, suggesting that anyone who thinks otherwise is not paying attention. She also raised eyebrows about the silence of the #MeToo movement during Diddy's downfall, questioning why haven't they spoken up if their cause is genuinely rooted in justice. Interestingly, a buzz has been growing about Beyoncé's new song, Daughter, from her album Cowboy Carter. In this track, she dives into some deep, intense feelings after finding out someone was cheating with her husband. The lyrics are vivid and graphic, hinting at dark themes that have fans talking.
Be diverse from church to church. Every church has a different opinion on the issue, and every gay person is different.
The founder of the Potter's House and well-known preacher, Bishop Jakes, is presently facing a difficult legal struggle that has made his life even more difficult. A pastor from Pennsylvania named Dwayne Youngblood has made grave claims against the well-known spiritual leader, who just had a medical crisis during his sermon on November 24th. Jake sexually molested Youngblood while he was between the ages of 18 and 19, according to Youngblood's public accusations. Jakes and his legal team have taken action as a result of the public and media's attention being drawn to these bombshell charges. Bishop Jakes, who is now in stable condition after a medical assessment after his sermon, has sued Youngblood for defamation in reaction to these allegations. Jake's lawyers have vehemently refuted the accusations, claiming that Youngblood's statements are not only false but also driven by greed. Jakes' legal team is working hard to preserve the pastor's name and standing in the religious world, arguing that the pastor's activities are motivated by a personal agenda rather than a valid grievance. Both sides are getting ready for what is anticipated to be a very heated confrontation in the courts, as the legal processes have swiftly intensified. Even while the lawsuit's specifics are still being worked out, there is no denying the tension in the case. This case is not only a personal problem for Jakes, a man who has based his legacy on inspiration, religion, and community service, but it also has the potential to affect his reputation both within and outside of the Christian community. The public's attention will be riveted to the drama as Bishop Jakes battles to clear his reputation while managing his own medical recovery as the case develops. Dwayne Youngblood, a pastor from Pennsylvania, publicly accused Bishop T.D. Jakes of improper conduct during an edition of the Larry Reed Live podcast on October 27th, which brought the accusations against Jakes to light. The instances happened years ago, according to Youngblood, who remembered the first claimed contact after a Pittsburgh church function. According to Youngblood, Jakes tried to kiss and hug him, which he said was an unwanted and awkward move. Youngblood recounted a second meeting in which Jakes allegedly asked if they might share a bed as part of his account of the alleged occurrences. The Christian community, which considers Bishop Jakes to be one of the most important leaders in contemporary ministry, has been rocked by these unsettling accusations. Given Jakes' long-standing reputation for advocating for religion, honesty, and family values, many people were taken aback by the allegations. Given that it concerns a well-respected religious person, Youngblood's disclosure has sparked significant debate. Youngblood, for his part, has said that he had first been reluctant to share his story but felt compelled to do so after a series of personal reflections and struggles. The podcast episode went viral, and the story quickly gained traction with many people speculating on the veracity of the allegations. Following these allegations, Bishop Jakes and his legal team have vehemently denied any wrongdoing, claiming that Youngblood is lying to damage Jakes' name and get money. The charges have no validity, according to Jakes' agents, who have rejected them as unfounded and part of a larger attempt to damage his reputation. A defamation complaint was brought against Youngblood soon after the allegations were made public, and they have pledged to contest the allegations in court. The public's interest in the lawsuit's specifics and the accusations itself has grown as the case progresses. The wider ramifications for Jakes' legacy and the relationship of trust between religious leaders and their communities are now at the center of the discussion as both parties get ready for what could be a protracted court struggle. Even while Jakes is still committed to protecting his image, many are curious about how the case's continued media coverage would impact Jakes and those who see him as a spiritual leader. The well-known preacher and founder of the Potter's House in Dallas, Texas, Bishop Jakes, is now involved in a legal dispute as a result of grave allegations that have damaged his image. During a Larry Reed Live podcast broadcast on October 27th, Pennsylvania-based preacher Dwayne Youngblood publicly accused Jakes. According to Youngblood, Jake sexually attacked him when he was 18 or 19. Youngblood said the assaults happened after a Pittsburgh church function. He further said that at a second visit, Bishop Jakes firmly denied the claims made by Jakes that have generated a great deal of controversy. Jakes responded to the allegations by suing Youngblood in Pennsylvania federal court for defamation. According to the complaint his legal team filed, the accusations are nasty and completely untrue. According to his attorneys, Youngblood wants to harm Jake's reputation in order to make money. They contend that the pastor has suffered greatly as a result of the accusations, both emotionally and professionally. According to Jake's legal team, the pastor has been significantly impacted both physically and emotionally by the protracted legal struggle as the case moves forward. In fact, they imply that Jake's medical emergency on November 24th could have been directly caused by the stress of the charges. Jake unexpectedly became sick while preaching at his Dallas church, the Potter's House. Fortunately, he was subsequently reported to be in stable condition after being sent for medical treatment. His attorneys have stressed that his health issue was caused in part by the stress of the false claims, as well as the physical and mental strain of the defamation action. In addition to clearing Jake's name, the case, which was brought against Youngblood and other parties connected to the allegations, tries to stop what his legal team refers to be a plot to take advantage of his notoriety. The objective, according to them, is to put an end to Bishop Jake's continuous suffering, emotional, bodily, and spiritual, caused by these unfounded charges. The legal team further emphasized that the case is intended to safeguard Jake's legacy and demonstrate to the public that the accusations are baseless. They want to do this in order to repair his integrity and reputation in the eyes of his followers, congregation, and the general public. Jake is steadfast in his devotion to his beliefs and the welfare of his flock in spite of the difficulties. While negotiating the choppy seas of this legal dispute, he continues to insist on his innocence. Jake's legal team is working hard to expose the truth and shield his name from these hurtful allegations, and now that his health has improved, he is anticipated to continue leading his church. The 57-year-old pastor of Higher Call World Outreach Ministries, Dwayne Youngblood, and his lawyer, Tyrone Blackburn, took a daring step in their legal dispute with Bishop Jakes on November 15, 2024. Blackburn, who previously defended Lil Rod in his legal battle against media tycoon Diddy, filed the case for $6 million in return for a speedy and quiet resolution. Youngblood said the demand was intended to resolve the matter without further litigation or public conflict. Youngblood reaffirmed his accusations against Jakes in his lawsuit, including charges of sexual assault and harassment that allegedly occurred when he was 18 or 19. Youngblood's demand for money was presented as a quick solution, but it also carried a serious warning. Youngblood would proceed with a full-fledged lawsuit if Jakes did not fulfill this requirement. According to reports, the lawsuit would seek damages for the claimed harassment and assault, taking the matter to a court battle and drawing further attention from the public. Triblev reports that this legal threat coincides with Youngblood's pursuit of redress for the harm he alleges he endured at the hands of Jakes over 3 decades ago. Bishop Jakes and his legal team have forcefully denied the charges, claiming that Youngblood is using the bogus allegations as part of a conspiracy to defraud the pastor of his money. Jake's lawyers contend that Youngblood is using the accusations to further his own financial interests, accusing him of fabricating false information in an attempt to get a large settlement. In response, the team filed a defamation action to fight what they see as a purposeful effort to damage Jake's image, arguing that the charges are false. According to Jake's legal team, the timing of the charges and the monetary demand make it abundantly evident that Youngblood's claims are motivated by exploitation. Jake's court brief, which portrays the whole incident as a planned action intended to capitalize on the pastor's notoriety, reinforced this viewpoint. The allegations will eventually enable Jakes to restore his position in the public spotlight and within his community, and he is committed to clarifying his name and repairing his image as the court struggle progresses. Jakes has already suffered from the strain of the protracted legal drama. In late November, he had a medical emergency while preaching. According to his team, the stress of the legal battle could have contributed. As the case progresses, it is unclear whether Youngblood's demand of $6 million will be fulfilled or if it will turn into a protracted legal dispute that might continue to have serious consequences for both sides. In reaction to Dwayne Youngblood's charges, Bishop T.D. Jakes and his legal team have strongly refuted the accusations and said that they believe they are false. Jakes firmly believes in helping real victims of sexual assault, according to the filing, stressing that these people should be handled with the highest regard, compassion, understanding, and sympathy. He has also stated his opinion that those who really commit such abuse need to be held completely responsible for their deeds. Jakes' attorneys, however, have argued that this is not the case with Youngblood's claims, claiming that Youngblood has purposefully attempted to fabricate charges for his own financial and personal gain by manipulating social media and the court system. In addition to refuting the claims of sexual assault, Jakes' defamation action provides insight into Youngblood's history. As the court dispute heats up, the petition disclosed that Youngblood is a registered sex offender in the state of Pennsylvania, a revelation that has drawn attention. Following a sudden health crisis during the service at the Potter's House in Dallas, Texas, on Sunday, November 24th, Bishop T.D. Jakes, the adored pastor, spiritual mentor, and internationally renowned leader, left his congregation and millions of internet followers in profound anxiety. Bishop, who was well known for his stirring sermons and unshakable dedication to sharing the gospel, had an unexpected medical emergency that shocked the sanctuary and the world as people watched in real time, uncertain of his status. Worry and concern quickly took over the church, which was crowded with believers anxious to hear Bishop Jakes' counsel. His typical vigor and zeal started to significantly wane halfway through his sermon, which was the moment of worry. Bishop Jake, who was known for his passion and strong presence, seemed to be afflicted by something that was interfering with his ability to give his sermon. His once passionate and conviction-filled speech slowed as he seemed to have trouble breathing. The crowd was immediately alarmed by this abrupt shift in behavior, with many questioning if he had had a heart attack or stroke. There was a noticeable air of panic in the sanctuary as the seriousness of the situation became apparent. While some participants exchanged anxious looks, uncertain of what was going on, others bent their heads in prayer. In contrast to his often vivacious demeanor, Bishop Jakes had sat down for the start of the service. He nonetheless spoke passionately about his affection for the people he serves and his commitment to his vocation. Despite being emotionally charged, his voice struck a chord with the audience, highlighting the value of faith, fortitude, and tenacity. But as the sermon went on, it became evident that something was wrong. Bishop Jakes' motions became uneven, and those closest to the pulpit saw that he was having trouble breathing and speaking clearly. He made an effort to go on with the message in spite of his obvious discomfort. Everyone could see how dedicated he was to his ministry despite his personal struggles. However, it soon became evident that he could not go on. While ushers and security maintained order in the sanctuary, the church's medical team and ministry professionals moved quickly to his help. Many members of the congregation started praying out loud for healing and divine intervention as Bishop Jakes was helped by his staff. As people from all around the globe voiced their concerns, the issue gained international attention, and social media was inundated with words of support and prayers for the beloved pastor's speedy recovery. Even for someone as apparently unstoppable as Bishop Jakes, the episode provided as a sobering reminder of the toll that service may take. Many people considered the significance of his role as a spiritual leader, whose impact extends far beyond the boundaries of the Potter's House after his health concern. Bishop Jakes is regarded as one of the most revered individuals in the Christian world because of his decades-long ministry, which has changed the lives of many people via his leadership, books, films, and sermons. His congregation, as well as others impacted by his teachings worldwide, showered him with love and support after his unexpected health crisis. With their combined prayers filling the air, people across the globe waited anxiously for developments while specifics about his status remained unknown. The assembly held faithful to their faith in spite of the interruption of the service. Many Christians clung to faith when news got out, believing that their pastor would come out stronger than before. Bishop Jakes calmed his congregation with a poignant message amidst the uncertainty, displaying his customary humility and commitment to his vocation. Struck a chord with the audience, who cheered and applauded, his remarks demonstrated the close relationship he has developed with his followers through years of encouraging and mentoring them on their spiritual paths. Bishop Jakes took the microphone and started talking again, but in a more sensitive tone. He expressed his profound affection for the people he serves by saying, "I miss you," he proceeded by drawing a comparison between visiting patients in a hospital and the transformational effect of preaching. "You're receiving more than you gave, even if you believe you're giving something away." As the bishop's remarks emphasized the close bond between pastor and people, his voice was full with a strong feeling of connection. But as the events transpired, an increasing feeling of unease emerged. Bishop Jakes' microphone-wielding hand started to shake a little indication of unease. He tried to hide the vibrations, but some members of the congregation could see them. He was clearly vulnerable at that point, and the audience reacted not just with cheers, but also with a greater understanding of their spiritual leader's tenacity and commitment. Bishop Jakes, a man who has dedicated his life to helping others, was experiencing a moment of human weakness that made everyone realize how much responsibility and pressure he bears.